So today I'm going to be talking about one of the most difficult topics that I've ever addressed as related to the relationship between myself and my father and the events that have just transpired over the last 30 days. So what really happened with my father? Again, he was very healthy for the longest time. A couple of years ago, we get this diagnosis that he has emphysema. The hell? He hadn't smoked since London. That was 30, 40 years ago. That's crazy. That makes no sense. And then we also get this diagnosis of congestive heart failure. And although we get this diagnosis, you really don't see it with my dad because he's so big, he's so strong, his mind's sharp. And so we're just like, okay, we're just gonna attack this and go with it and move forward, right? And that's pretty much what we did. So for the first 2 years, everything was kind of moving forward and coming along, and he was doing fine. And then he started having some breathing issues, and it was harder for him to breathe and do the things that he wanted to do. And we never really saw much as related to the heart situation, but breathing became a bigger issue. And it just got continually worse and worse to where he wasn't able to go out fishing and exercise and had to have help with breathing treatments and things of that nature. And so, and unfortunately, I knew emphysema was a situation where there's no cure for this. So we knew it was only a matter of time, but we were hoping and praying that it would be many, many years. And it turned out to be much, much less. My dad, his health really started to decline, right? And so there was a lot more treatments to the visits to the doctor, a lot more medicines he was taking just to help and get things together. And it just really wasn't working that well. And so I remember he came on one Sunday to my house, and he was just not getting along that well. And it's just like, Dad, come on, we gotta. And I was always encouraging him to do more of the breathing and to do things. And it's just like, I recognized that there was a big problem, but I wanted to encourage him that, okay, we're gonna get out of this, we're gonna move forward, just knowing that from a future perspective, it probably wasn't there. So I get the call the next day that my dad did get hospitalized and he was at the hospital. And so we went to the hospital to see what was going on, and he was having difficulty breathing and problems and issues, and he got admitted. And I remember looking at him one day that day when we finally let me into the room, and he did not look good. He looked really, really bad. And that was the first time that I said, okay, I don't have much time with my dad. I just don't. So, okay, let me put some of the work things to the side and let me spend as much time with him as I possibly can. My sister and I my mom was always there. She was gonna be there. You weren't gonna let her go. She was there to the point where she would physically run herself down, and she was becoming unhealthy because she would sit by his side. She's been with him for 58 years. And so she was not going anywhere. So we physically had to take her home. Okay, Andrea, you take her home, I'll stay with him. And we figured out some things of that nature so that she could try and get some rest and sleep, because we knew if we didn't address that, we were probably gonna be losing both of our parents right now. And that was just awful. So he's somewhat stabilized, right? And went to a rehab facility. And again, he's getting breathing problems and breathing treatments, and we're addressing things and we're moving forward. And so his prognosis got a little better, okay? He was able to get up and move around and talk and things of that nature. And he was doing reasonably okay. And he was in the rehab facility for a few weeks, right? And then it was time for him to be discharged. And Dad, again, was on a walker and breathing issues and cognitively, this is when we started to see kind of an issue with regards to Dad was just not completely Dad anymore. He just wasn't. And so we had to figure that out. So, okay, what are we going to do? Do we need to get more oxygen? Is this kind of an issue that's not going to correct itself? And we were just gathering information. And so the Wednesday, I remember, the Wednesday before, the Wednesday night, he's going to be discharged on Thursday. And so we're like, okay, what's our plan, right? What is our plan? How are we going to handle this? Because it was going to be kind of a challenge, because my sister, who did so much work, she was in Austin. My mom is, again, she's older and moving him around and this, that, and the other. That was going to be really taxing. Me, I run around doing so many different things. I can help, I can assist, but I have a whole lot of responsibilities on me. And so we tried to, so we had a plan, and high five, we're a team, we'll figure this out. We're the Fantastic Four. That was Wednesday night. And so, okay, great, high five, we're good. So Thursday, we'll bring him home. We went home Wednesday night, and that's when everything just went to absolute garbage. It went to hell. I'm laying on the couch, resting and just thinking about this whole situation. My sister was staying with me, and so she's screaming. She's like, Darren, Dad's not breathing. And I'm like, what's going on? She's got a camera. My sister was always ahead of the curve, and she had a camera, she had a microphone set up in the room just so we could watch and see what was going on. And one thing I'll definitely recommend, when you've got someone who needs long-term care, get the cameras, get the microphones so that you can listen to what is going on with the help staff to make sure people are doing their jobs. Although it can be invasive with the people that you love, it's so important to keep people accountable, to make sure that they're changing people, they're giving treatments, they're addressing the things they're supposed to do. And that camera is there to help to verify, especially when they know that this person can hear my conversations. I can speak to them if I need to. It keeps people accountable. So just keep that in mind as you move forward with your own families. How awful I felt when I look in this camera and I see my father, and they're doing breathing treatments on him, and they're massaging him, and they're trying everything to save his life. And I'm listening to that, and I'm going through it, and I'm processing it. And it's like, wait a second. He's not there. He's not there. I know it. I can feel it. He's gone. And then, of course, when, as I hear on the camera, I'm listening to the microphone, he's not responding. He's not responding. So right then and there, my sister's getting ready to go, and we're getting ready to go to the hospital. I said, I got to get to my mom. So I drop everything. I get dressed, because if someone calls my mom and tells her, she's going to go crazy. I don't know what she's gonna do, but I need to get to her before anyone else does. So I run over there, I pick her up, and we go there. My sister gets there before us, and I can hear it, and I call her like, hey, as we're coming up there, Andrea, what's going on? What's going on? And I hear it in her voice, and she's like, you need to get here as soon as possible. I'm like, Andrea, what's going on? You need to get here as soon as possible. And so I knew. And so my sister, my mother's right there. What's going on, Andrea? Talk to me. What's going on? So I know what's going on. I know what she's trying to tell me. So I'm like, Mom, we're just gonna get there. Let's just relax. Let's just get there and see what's going on. And so my sister has this presence of mind to, okay, please keep working on my dad. And I know that she did this. Keep working on my dad till my family gets here. And so we get there as quickly as we can. We walk in there, they're working on him. They've been doing it for 40 minutes. He's not responding, which means he's gone. So they they're giving us at least the impression that they're doing everything they can to try and save his life. And it was awful. It was terrible. It was terrible. And my sister, I didn't know what to do. I don't know how to handle death. And I don't know how to handle this situation. So my sister has the presence of mind to, hey, okay, stop the compressions, let's lift his body onto the bed. And I'm going to ask you guys, thank you so much for your help, but you guys need to step out. We're going to pray over my father. We're going to transition him. And so I don't know what to do. And I pride myself on being a really good leader. I feel like I'm a good leader, at least in my mind, but I didn't know what to do. But fortunately, my sister does, because as a pastor herself, she deals with these things, okay? Certainly not as related to family in these situations and circumstances. And she was completely composed, but she gets us together, and we're holding his hands, and we have our circle, and she prays us through this process. And while she's praying, she's giving me instruction, and essentially with regards to, he is no longer here. He is transitioning on. He's had a good and full life. He has been a Christian, a God-fearing Christian. She and he have been having conversations with regards to this transition and how beautiful it's going to be. And hey, don't feel sorry for him, okay? Because he's happy, he's going. But prepare us. We can feel sorry for ourselves, but he's fine. Don't worry about Dad, because he's going to a better place. And so I'm okay, got it. That's the message. That's what I've got in my mind. And so now I can start to figure things out. And that was terrible. It was awful. And so as my father is there, and we're dealing with the medical examiner and all these other issues that are coming through, you have to make all these decisions on the spot. You have to. And thank goodness, again, I've got strong family around me. Because I'm telling you, when it comes to death, these companies and these funeral homes they know they've got you in a vulnerable position, because you've got to make decisions quickly. And if you don't have a plan in place with regards to funeral and making plans with the body and what's going to happen, they're going to come and try to gouge you, okay? They're going to try and gouge you. So one thing I would definitely recommend, talk to your family about, okay, what's the plan? Where are we going to go? A funeral, cremation. Do we have funds prepared for these types of things? Make a plan with your family, okay? So you don't have to struggle and you don't get taken advantage of when this happens. And guys, the unfortunate reality is going to happen to all of us. So start to prepare yourself for the transition when you lose a loved one. Get ready, because it's going to happen. I am so very fortunate, right? Not only just to have my sister who knows what to do, to have just a loving mother who, again, now it's our time. She's lost her companion of 58 years. And she is, of course, hysterical, but she keeps it under control as much as possible. And she's prepared me well. She's sewed into me so well over these years. But thank God, I also have extended family, my folks at the office that provide me so much support. Hey, Darren, you've been there for us when we've had hard times. What can we do for you? Bringing me food, well wishes, taking care of certain job duties for me, making sure that I don't have to worry about anything while I'm going through the worst period of my life. And so having a good support system is just so important. When you have people around you that are going through things, make sure you're showing empathy towards them and how much you care and how important you are to them, because it's going to happen to you. And fortunately for me, I think I've been somewhat empathetic towards people, and so it came back to me tenfold in my situation. While I try to kind of process it differently, and I don't want to put too much strain on anyone in particular, I just had so much support from my friends and family. I was able to work through this process. And you have to be able to grieve. You have to be able to let it out. You have to. It's healthy, right? You know, one of the worst things that I had to do was to call my kids up and let them know, hey, Papa is gone. That was so difficult. That was so tough. And because they loved him so much and he loved them so much. But again, fortunately, with my kids, it's like, look, guys, Papa's just not doing so well. And so I started to kind of prepare them. So 3 of them did. just fine. One of my sons it just totally devastated him. And he was just kind of concerned about it because it's like, hey, Dad, I'm not processing things the way that the others are. I'm having such a difficult time with Papa being gone. I'm like, son, it is okay. Look how close you were with Papa. Look how much he loved you and you loved him. So you process it any way that you need to. You want to cry, then cry. You want to scream, then scream. You let us know what we need. You need me down there, to help you. Whatever you need, you let us know. And don't be ashamed of anything. I've cried so many times, and that's healthy. You know why I cried so much? Because I loved Papa. And he let me know, son, I will lay down my life for you. He told me that 1,000 times, and he meant that. And so when you've got someone who is willing to die for you, right? When you lose that person in your life, it's gonna have a tremendous effect. So any way to process grief, any way that, as long as you've got friends and families around and you're doing it in a manner that lets you get back to where you need to be, don't be ashamed of it and don't bury it inside. Share your feelings with those people around you that you love and that care for you so you can get back to being as healthy as you can, as quickly as you can. I didn't understand the impact of how important it was to plan the exit of a loved one in your life. Again, that's another point that I totally missed. That thank goodness my sister's like, no, we have to do this. We have to do this, and we're going to put time into this. And she forced me to do certain things, and thank God that she did, because I saw how important the details were. We've all been involved in funerals, and we've kind of gone through the process, and we've gone and we've showed our respect, and we've gone home, and it's over. Well, my sister's like, no. That is not. This is going to be a celebration of life. We're going to point out different highlights. We're going to do what Papa would have wanted us to do. Like, hey, don't be sad for me. I want you to celebrate. I want you to party. I want you to have a good time because, hey, I'm going to heaven. That's where I'm going, right? And I want to meet you guys there, but I want to make sure it's a party. Make sure people can understand where I came from, what I've done, and more importantly, where I'm going. Because he always wanted to teach, right? That you live a Christian and healthy lifestyle. You do the right things. If you live this type of a lifestyle, that you'll end up with Papa in heaven when you're done. And still, that was his final lesson, right? He's taught it all the way through, but that's the final lesson that he wanted to teach us. And so that's one of the things that we were somewhat emphasized during the celebration of life. Where he started, the sacrifices he made, the achievements that he had, the grand importance of legacy. I know that these events are so personal to each one of us, but our celebration of life ceremony that we had for my father, I think was absolutely fantastic because we emphasized things that Papa would have been proud of. And we had so much involvement from so many different family members, people that really, really knew him. His grandkids, I just loved listening to them speak. And the way in which we did it was like, listen, we want you guys to go up there together as a team, okay? The same way that we've always done. And anyone who feels like speaking and expressing themselves with regards to what they're going through, let it flow. Those others that don't want to, not a problem. And those kids that spoke, we were so proud of the messages that they shared, that their experience with their grandfather, the things that they've learned from him and the things that they're taking from him. And just hearing those things was just so powerful to me. When I hear the other people, other members of his church, and just the impacts that he's had on their life, it's like, it makes me feel so proud because it wasn't just a situation where Joseph Miller took care of Andrea and Darren Miller, but he took care of a village of people. Anyone that ran into him, hey, let me assist with this. Let me give you a little bit of this. And God tells you about this. and that he was sharing those things with everyone, right? Up until the end of his life, he was still going to school to teach the younger generation about just different things that they can benefit from. And those things were so important to him, always giving back. And just hearing some of those people and interacting with them and the importance that he had in their life, man, it makes me feel so good. And while I miss my father immensely, the effect that he's had on everyone around him and the difference that he's made by leaving things better than he found them, and the one thing that was so important to him, legacy. Those things have been started, and we are continuing them in his honor. And so I'm sad that he's gone and I don't get to talk to him and spend time with him anymore, but his work on this earth is done. He created that foundation. And here is the remnants of it, me, in his son, in his daughter, in the grandkids, in the folks in his church. And so he started something that I'm so proud of. So anytime I think of Joseph Miller and the fact that he's no longer with us, I'm just so thankful of what he's left, of the things that he sacrificed, the things that he has showed us, the path that he has given towards success that we all can follow.